Welcome to 5 Shot Weekly. Another era has come to an end. We're getting all that and more coming up. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome to the show, 5 Shot Fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. And yes, we've got some good bits of news that we will go over. But first, let's give some love to our loyal Patreon fam. Most notably, Gavin, Jordan, Niall, Andrew, Chris, Nick, Jeff, Patrick, and Tom. Thank you guys so much as always. But yes, let's get into the news. And so the MLS Cup final is set. It will be Saturday. It will be kind of an afternoon, pretty much, I guess, soiree for some people. But Lionel Messi and Thomas Muller. Yes, those two, the biggest names of those sides for Inter Miami and Vancouver Whitecaps, respectively. It will be probably a pretty interesting final. Two very attacking sides. One probably the overwhelming favorite in Inter Miami in that sense because of, well, they have the GOAT. So, that very much would be, I think, tipping the Vegas scales. But, the Whitecaps are nothing to shake your stick at as well. And, they've only gotten stronger this season with the addition of Muller. But, I think a lot of us have checked out as far as Atlanta United fans. Probably fair. It's been quite a bit of time now. It's has it been like a month and some change? Maybe a little bit more? Man, it's crazy.
Feels like more.
Yeah, feels definitely like more. But either way, we will be doing a little bit of a watch party on our own, but we may or may not. This is me throwing out the idea a little bit of a little bit of a little surprise little voice chat during it in our Discord. So if you guys are wanting that, get at us in the comments below. But as far as this matchup, any thoughts on it, and who do you have?
Man, watching San Diego play against Vancouver, I thought San Diego would be the one. Even though I don't want them to win the whole thing, because obviously that allows them to usurp us in terms of potentially being, getting a championship in their first year versus their second, which is what we currently hold, is the best, thing so far for that. I don't want them to take that from us. It just is another thing we won't have anymore, which would stink. But they seemed like the chosen ones. They seemed like they could figure out teams and overwhelm them consistently. So I was really thinking that they would be the ones in the final. Vancouver, though, at that point was nothing to sniff at, obviously, like you were saying, but they looked overwhelmed against San Diego. They did look overwhelmed, and I was really worried about seeing Vancouver in against Miami. Granted, Vancouver pulled it out, but I'm not sure it was just because they were that much better. It almost felt like San Diego dropped the ball a bit. So them going against Miami, I'm expecting Miami, unfortunately, to floor them pretty easily. I expect them to maybe not blow them out of the water, but handedly win the game. And that's obviously a concern for any neutrals who want to watch a good game. But I mean, it comes down to what we were talking in Discord, 3 variables. Takaoka, I think his name is, the goalie from Vancouver. If he shows up, that has to happen. He has to make those amazing saves like Brad Guzan did against Messi. You have to, because Messi is going to get those opportunities. He's going to put the ball in the back of the net at least of several times. You have to stop him from it being a lot of times. And if the Barca boys show up, there's not much any team can do about that. If they're just going to bang in 3-4 goals, they can do that against any team on the right day. And unfortunately, if that's you, that sucks. When it was against us in the playoffs, we got hella lucky a lot. But, we also had the power of anime and friendship on our team, I guess. It came out of nowhere. but we had to. I mean, we kept them to 1 goal in one of the games, but the other games they scored 2 each time. So I think Vancouver's going to have to score like at least 3 goals to win this game. And if they have that in them, if Miami doesn't stop them defensively, then Vancouver can have a shot here. But I mean, Miami's been a better defensive team this year. I'm not sure Vancouver will have what it takes. It just seems like this is Miami's year. They're going to run with it. This is the last time the Barca boys are together. It just feels like it's all the chips are in the basket here. It would feel strange to me if Vancouver upset them. However, I so sincerely want that to be the case. I want Vancouver to upset them so badly. That would be, man, a cherry on the top. So I don't think it'll happen. What is it? I think Vegas odds at least last I checked, was minus 235 for Miami and plus 175 for Vancouver. So it's not looking good. It is not looking good. So hopefully it'll at least be entertaining, but I guess we'll find out. So yeah, that's my, and also we did a poll in our Discord. 68% is hoping / thinking the Canadian Germans or Vancouver will win. And only 32% that leaves the fighting Miami Messis.
Yeah, and it's that. I mean, it's I think with Vancouver, with how they're probably going to approach the game, they're probably going to aim to frustrate. I mean, it's a one-off type of game. I think that's the smartest probably ploy anyway, is to stymie them as much as possible, everywhere as much as possible. And force them to break you down. But unfortunately, you have someone that is capable of doing so against a low block as one of the, if not the best in the world at doing it. And so it's you really have to be on point with your game plan, and really be, when you have the ball, be crisp with your passes. And Vancouver, I mean, I think they have the ability to do it, and they have someone that can create those chances on the the other side of it. But I think I'm in that minority. I'm okay with Messi winning this because there is an aspect here that if he wins this, and yes, okay, after the World Cup and all that, obviously, he's going to still be there for Inter Miami, in 2026. But after that, that gets really murky. And, there might be a case where, okay, he might still have the urge to play. He might still be thinking that it's, he can still be at the top level. But I think there's a higher chance that he leaves MLS after that. And so, there is, at that point, Miami will be in utter shambles after Messi leaves. The quicker that happens, I think there's a healing in MLS. I think that will happen. And so selfishly in that regard, and it's this, like, I have a little bit of a soft spot for Messi as far as like him being an incredible player. I like watching him play. So, if he's going to be the GOAT, he's going to be the GOAT. He's going to do what he does. And I'd rather see him succeed at being the GOAT than, watching maybe some other inferior players have a argument in this regard where, blah, 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 blah. It's just, at this point, it's like Michael Jordan. It's like, you want to see the greatest get what they, I think, more or less, they probably deserve. And it is what they're capable of. So that's where I'm coming from with that. But I think the question for you is, and I think I saw this a little bit being asked, but do you think that he needs to win MLS Cup to kind of further this greatest of all time talk?
No. No.
Yeah. So
no, he's already won competitions that are significantly harder. So
right.
I don't.
Yeah. And so I don't think this really tarnishes his legacy, but yeah, like the reasons I said above. Yeah, I think it just I don't think he needs to continue to play to either really like make more money or like, yes, it might make a little bit more money for MLS to a degree, but it's kind of really dampened the league a little bit. Like it's not really made it really that interesting, with him being in the league. It's arguably made it kind of just the sunset seems to arrive a lot sooner for some teams. So it's just
I mean, it's to me, it's interesting. I only at this, when Atlanta's not in the conversation, I guess I just want the league to be able to grow in the best kind of possible way.
Yeah.
And if that is with Messi being here, then okay. I don't think we can necessarily say until all this experiment is done whether or not it made the most sense for him to be here. I think it probably will have been, because I just think it puts a lot of eyes here, more money. Teams, I think, developed a bit of an arms race when he got here and thought, well, if they got Messi, we need to get X, Y, and Z. We need to step it up. We need to look into the MLS 1.0 model again, of just like buying one of the best guys and just hoping he just can take us to victory. And it seems like that's working. I mean, like a lot of teams that have done well in MLS has had like a big name on them who just kind of carried them there. Obviously that's not the full story. There's plenty of context, but to a degree that is true. So, a lot of people look at like, well, Atlanta United signed like these quote unquote, like not legendary players that they could have potentially gone with some kind of legendary player instead. And you see what the results that we had. So, I mean, some people look at that and feel some FOMO, right? So I don't know if that's, good for us, if it's good for the league. I mean, it could be. If it's an arms race that makes the whole league more interesting, then okay. We have some big guys coming into the league or in the league now. And hopefully the pipeline continues to do that. And it's not just aging guys anymore. I mean, like Messi and Thomas Muller, like these guys still perform even though they're older. So hopefully, I mean, there's a list. So, like I said, if it ends up being beneficial to the league as a whole, it makes it more interesting. And I don't think we can necessarily conclude on that yet. Then I'm for it. So, I guess ask me again in like 3 or so years.
Yeah. And, I hear you. I think there's two very interesting threads that we could go on. And you know what? Let's do it. But, one of them being that, is Messi, and has Messi revolutionized MLS as much as, say, LA United has? And this is not, yes, there is some bias, obviously, but as far as the way in which LA United definitely changed the league and brought a ton of eyeballs, not only from Georgia, but worldwide, truly worldwide, to hear. I think there's an argument to be made that, I think we help the league, and, I think the optics of it, I think we substantially made it where, okay, people were paying attention and made it seem like, wow, okay, the number of people that were showing up at the Benz, it being top 20, sometimes top 5 as far as most attended, on occasions on weekends. I mean, there was something that really absolutely, were turning heads. And beyond that, has Messi had a greater impact than, say, Pele with the Cosmos in NASL? It's like, I'm not so sure he has. I think it's, it's been actually more difficult for, you know, all of this because of maybe, you know, one, the Apple deal, it being a little bit more exclusive for, you know, just the users that actually have it, but also in this day and age, which, yes, you know, this isn't appointment viewing like, you know, the 90s, like parts of the 2000s, where if you're on the younger side, people used to, you know, they all watched the one thing that was all talked about, you know, on that one channel, because there were really only a handful of channels. And so, you know, people just tuned in to the thing that was the most talked about, the most interesting. But now there's so many things that are drawing people's attention, you know, including possibly, you know, humbly, this. And so it's like, you know, each person is not going to be tuning into the same type of things anymore. But those two things, I mean, whichever one you want to pull that thread on, I don't know. I find
I'll do the first one.
Yeah.
And then we'll tackle the second one. And I may have to like rephrase that second one, but the first one, has Messi revolutionized the league more than Atlanta United did? It's just different ways, I think. You can think of it different ways. The first way it hit me is probably not the best way to talk about it, but like, because like the way I saw it is like our, you know, the MLS, like the next version of MLS was with Atlanta United, because we were able to dominate the league that year. Last, you know, like in 2017 and 2018 and 2019, kind of like we were seen as this force, and we were doing things differently. We didn't just buy huge retiring name players. We got, you know, like diamonds in the rough, got them to all work together, and then, you know, with a city behind them, they were able to just, you know, blow everyone over. So that seemed like, wow, everyone's like, we need to do that too. And then that changed things. So yeah, we were definitely a paradigm shifter when it came to that. However, I think people discovered, perhaps over time, that a lot of that was lightning in a bottle, and that's not exactly replicable with all the other different franchises. So it seemed like over time, like I was talking about with, you know, teams seeming to buy these big name players and it just gets them to like finals in MLS. It seemed like there's a movement to go back to that after they've realized perhaps what we did was more lightning in a bottle, not so much replicable. So I felt like our lasting impact there in terms of paradigm shift wasn't as much of a permanent shift. It was just a temporary one. And another way of looking at it is just like our culture building that we had with our stadium, the city that we have, the people here, the love of soccer and football here, that we got behind this team. That is really unique to here. Like some other teams are getting close to that or can do that sometimes. I mean, like Charlotte had a big support when it first started, like that's similar to ours, in the same kind of like large stadium, hype around the team. But I mean, we really kind of like kicked that off as like, wow, MLS in Atlanta is a big thing versus most of the other cities. It's just not. So that definitely was a paradigm shift that stayed, and you know, if you can keep it, will be here continuing. But unfortunately, a lot of the fans have gone away from this team and stopped watching and participating because we've just not been very good. The product hasn't been entertaining. So if we can get back to it, we can continue to show the world that we are a soccer city, one of the best in the United States, if not the world. And the eyes should be on us, on Georgia, for when it comes to that. That's why we have the soccer HQ here, you know, for the United States. That's why we're having the big venues, the big games here, like, and it's not other places all the time. So, you know, those are kind of the two ways I looked at it. And if you have any comments on that before we tackle the second one, and I think I'll need you to rephrase the second one so I can handle it better.
Oh, sure. I mean, and yeah, we won't linger on this too long because this is like literally our first topic. But yeah, it is that. I mean, something where, you know, and I love the points that you made, because it is something that has made us a worldwide hub. And that's why the U.S. men's national team is here. It's one of the reasons why the World Cup is here. And so, we're not trying to be too self-aggrandizing as far as, LA United and the the place in the world game, but I mean, absolutely an MLS is made an impact that has, I think, resonated, whether good or bad. I mean, I think, there were definitely people that were trying to copy our, the way we set it up, the systems that we had, set in place, culture-wise, like you mentioned. But, they saw that they couldn't do it. And the easier thing is to get an established star, whether they are over the hill or not. And it has gone back to MLS 2.0 versus the MLS 3.0 that we had ushered in. But as far as Pele and the impact he had with the Cosmos, which it was revolutionary. It was absolutely, it made the United States, I think, care about soccer to a really big degree, but also the world, because if you talk about Pele, he absolutely is one of the most revered legends ever in the game. So Messi, yes, is in that territory, but has he made a big impact like that? I'm not so sure.
So my comment on that is probably only that if memory serves, Pele's Cosmos was one of the reasons why NASL folded, because they were too good, and it was just not competitive anymore. So in terms of impact, that kind of had the opposite. Like, it was great for while it was here for the Cosmos, but for the other teams, not so much, and it kind of folded a lot of things. So, did that step things back? I mean, if the league continued on and it was able to grow and it was organic, and even with Pele and the Cosmos being what they were, could that have been even better? Perhaps, but I mean, I don't know if that held things back, or it was like one step forward, two steps back in that regard. So the MLS hasn't folded under the weight of Messi yet, so hopefully it does not. But I feel like you have to talk about that in terms of the impact as well, not just the fact that Pele came here, where he could have gone anywhere.
And that's a fair point as well. I think there are the positives and negatives that we can take from it, but I think as far as that's an infrastructure thing versus I think the impact on the fans, where they definitely I think people older than you and me, for sure, that lived it, they definitely have an affinity for soccer, for football, that has permeated into their children, into basically, I'm sure your children as well, and it's going to be I think a big part of their lives that maybe wouldn't necessarily have been in there if Pele had not played here. And so I think that's really the interesting part here, where I'm coming from, and Messi might have that kind of impact. That's going to remain to be seen, but and hopefully the new generation does take to it like that because of that, and how blessed really that they truly are to actually have seen someone that with that type of that talent in their lifetime. And I think it really doesn't come that often. So this is where I am with it's like, having been lucky enough to see the likes of like a Michael Jordan, play with my own eyes, at least on a television, but Messi in person, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, those type of just worldwide legends. That's it truly is like there is a blessing to our eyeballs. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get into the MLS schedule that was announced last week. It was obviously a holiday week, so we didn't really cover it, but we'll go through it pretty briefly here, but the key MLS dates with the opening weekend, February 21st to the 22nd. The FIFA World Cup break is May 25th through July 16th. MLS will return July 16th to 17th. And the 2026 MLS All-Star Game is July 29th. Decision Day, November 7th. But, yeah, it is definitely, along with that, the fact that there won't be a separate MLS Pass subscription to view the regular season matches is going to be incredible from Apple TV. Yeah, basically anybody can watch it now. And I think that's been one of those things that has been called for because, yeah, you gatekeep the game. People are not going to be able to, really get into it as much as if it were just free. Like, this is going to make us sound like unks for sure. But, you remember when TBS and WGN were huge because they were the only kind of nationwide super stations that played a whole bunch of reruns, and the Braves respectively with TBS and the Chicago Cubs with WGN.
Yeah, I mean, I could also say that I have no idea what we're talking about because I'm still young and cool, but no, yes,
Totally you are.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. And so, those are those things that really, I think, endeared the Atlanta Braves to, most of the nation, where if you go around, there are a lot of Braves and Cubs fans that live not in Chicago, not in Atlanta. And basically, Atlanta has that pretty much southern region, if not some of the northern region too. And then Chicago, the Cubs, yeah, it's like, yeah, they probably have the Midwest a good bit, but yeah, there's a smattering of a lot of other Cubs fans, and there would be no reason why people would be Cubs fans when they were mired in a century-long, World Series winning side. I mean, it was just, it's just because they had free baseball. And so, yes, with free soccer, you will grow the game. You will be able to gain new fans. It is not rocket science. It has been like history. Like this has happened, and it is something that you eventually kind of figure out other ways. Yeah, you monetize the game already anyway with the merch sales, with the getting people to the stadium. But yeah, this I think is a massive move. But we'll get to maybe a specific game or two. But any thoughts on all that?
I mean, like you said, there's a famous kind of, not famous, but like there's a saying that I've heard. It's like that just about parties in general. But I mean, is that you give away free beer, people show up. So, make it easier. So there's free stuff like people, so. So yeah, I'm all for that. It's still a barrier to entry for sure because it's Apple TV. Sure. But there's at least one less hurdle now. So we're moving in a positive direction. There's always going to be some kind of subscription related to it. Kind of have to get over that. I mean, I don't have cable, so like people are going to be like, well, it should be on cable and there's no subscription. It's like, then I have to get that subscription to cable. So, that's another thing too. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have about that.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, so as far as, maybe some notable games, we'll be playing FC Cincy for the opener. There will be a, Tata playing Inter Miami in the month of September. Messi will be playing in Atlanta October 17th. Decision Day will be against the New York Red Bulls, which might be kind of tough there. But yeah, I think it's that big gap for the World Cup. It will be unprecedented, really. It will be, it'll feel weird. It is going to be really interesting what that's going to be like. But, and as well, there's going to be a lot of schedule compression, and it's just going to be really tough, I think, in some regards, where I think there are 6 away games in the summer because of Mercedes-Benz Stadium being the home of some of that to begin with. So yeah, it will be a long summer away from the Benz, that's for sure. But I think in any sense, we'll be covering all of it. We'll ride through all this together. So we'll see how exactly it goes. But so next bit of news, per the AJC, Garth Lagerwey, he will not return as Atlanta United's president. The club announced on Monday, and according to them as well, that Garth Lagerwey, essentially, it is one of these things where that role will be filled by someone that will also oversee the NWSL team. Basically, this is very likely, is just obviously not fully said, but his leave of absence essentially will not be, let me rephrase this. So he will not return from his leave of absence because of likely the battle with cancer right now. So as far as that goes, we wish him the absolute best in his recovery, in his battle with it. That obviously does not seem like it bodes quite well. Let's not speculate, I suppose. But it definitely leaves a gap in the leadership, for sure as well. And it's terrible news, I think, for a lot of reasons. But at the very least, for him, it's super massively important to just take care of his health first. And I think that's the main and important thing here. But thoughts on Lagerwey stepping away from the team, because ultimately, he does leave somewhat of a kind of divisive legacy. But your thoughts?
Yeah, it's terrible, all the way around. His legacy here was, not draped in glory. He never really brought us to the top of the hill. Not a lot to even be very, happy about. It really just sucks. And a lot of it, I've consistently said, is not exactly his fault. Some of it is, of course. We can, we've litigated this in the past many times about to what degree, what decisions are and what aren't. How he went and diagnosed the problems the team had. How would that have been different from a different CEO? It's, you can say what you want. There's probably good, perspectives on both sides of the argument. But I feel like, I think he takes a little bit more heat than he deserves. And I'm not just saying that because of the context of how he has been stepping back from his business operation, but it just, that on top of it is just terrible. Like, and right before the World Cup comes here, like, not being able to be in a position of, a high-level soccer executive in the place where the World Cup will be, in your home stadium, like that just I feel for the man. Like, it really sucks. So hopefully it gets better and get back at it, maybe somewhere else or what have you. But that just, that leaves me reeling a bit. He was supposed to be the savior, right? And just never materialized. And if anything, Atlanta United seems to have gotten the better of him, which it's like, Jesus, this is,
it's really
fun.
tough. Yeah, exactly. And it's, again, we wish him the very best, and hopefully he can overcome all of this. It's definitely, with Darren Eales as well. when he went over to Newcastle, and he had a bit of a a health scare, which he's still going under, as far as battling through that. Man, I don't know. It's like the Atlanta United job kind of takes its toll on you, I suppose, or something. But it's one of those things where hopefully, it's just something that, as far as the NWSL team, I think it's going to be interesting. You're going to have to bring somebody in that has experience there as well, as far as navigating that league, as far as also MLS. I mean, I think it's going to be really, really interesting who we bring in. I think there are really only a few names, maybe, that can actually, kind of check both of those. And I think there's, I'm trying to remember her name, but I think there's somebody that's used to, I mean, and, it's arguable. I think DC United had somebody, one of our people, really, I think, that, was at the helm there a little bit for a small period of time. And so I think they've moved on to the NWSL there. And I think, I'm trying to remember her name right now. But, either way, do you feel like it should be the same, the same role, as far as, one person encompassing both?
I mean, ideally, no. You want people to be hyper fixated on their one area and not be, having their aim kind of separated into two different things. I'd rather it be focused on one. That would be my ideal scenario, but if that's not the case, whatever, I'm sure it can be done. But if with the right people and the right kind of organizational structure, but ideally I'd prefer to have, person in charge of the NWSL and a person in charge of the MLS team, and then they both respond to or report to someone above them. That would be what I would expect, but kind of like the Falcons, MLS, different. It would be weird if it was the same guy, doing both. So that's the way I would see it. I mean, because NWSL, I'm expecting to be big here, and not small potatoes. And this is acting like it's small potatoes. Like, hey, this is just this little team that you won't have problem with, like, also taking on board of your major, like the main plate of food, which is the MLS team. This is like a little side dish. Shouldn't be too much. You should be all right just adding that little thing on. That's what it feels like a little bit when I hear that. That's why it bothers me. But so I would rather it be separate, because these are two big main dishes.
Yeah. So that person I was looking for was Lucy Rushton. I don't know if you remember her, but basically,
I remember that name. Yeah.
Yeah. But so she, was working with us from 2016 to 2020. As the team's head of technical recruitment and analysis, and then she moved on to DC United as the general manager, and then she moved on to Bay FC in NWSL. They hired her as the first general manager, and now she is a special advisor to the new general manager, Jeff Agos, at Portland Thorns FC. So, man, sounds like someone that's qualified for that job, if I've heard one. But
yeah, she sounds really smart, because she read the tea leaves about Atlanta United and got out of there before the ship sank.
Exactly. Yeah. In 2020, she was like, getting out's good, probably. And yeah. But either way,
selling when the stock is high, right?
Exactly. But either way, yeah. So that is going to be a global search. So it could also be someone that has handled a woman's side as well as a first team. There are those type of clubs around the world as well. There is the Women's Super League out there in Europe, so that could be somebody as well. We'll see. But, I think it's all just, it's all just, it's, 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 it's it's a really unfortunate situation, and I really, really wished that it was a completely different scenario and under different circumstances. But yeah, absolutely. It's again, Lagerwey. Yeah, kind of a difficult legacy, but absolutely hope he can get past it. So yes, let's move on to a couple transfer rumors from this week.
All right, before we do it, I have a random question to ask you.
Sure.
Just like, I don't know, but anyway, so I'm thinking so Miami is basically Barcelona light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they have 3-4 players from Barcelona. I mean, obviously Rodrigo Paul is not from Barcelona, but anyway, the other guys were, right? So if Atlanta would ever be cast in that same mold, 3-4 players, all legendary from a very good team, what team would you want it to be?
I mean, are we talking about players that are still active?
It could be, because those players were technically still active.
Right. Because, I mean, that's the only scenario I think that makes sense. I mean, that's really difficult because there's only one Barcelona team that had, all that, and the GOAT as well. So, the other options, and with players that are still currently playing, I mean, Real Madrid or maybe bits of a Bayern Munich side, possibly.
That was what I was thinking a little bit.
Yeah, but man, other than that, I don't know. I don't really know where to pull from because of still playing. Now, if we're talking about inactive players, I think that's pretty easy for me. But just 2004 Invincibles, 2003, 2004 Invincibles, Arsenal. But and so if it's Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Patrick Vieira, what else do we need? I mean, we need probably a goalkeeper, so Jans Lehmann, or maybe a center back, Sol Campbell. I think that spine would just be incredible. So that would be, I think, what I personally biased would love. But
because I was thinking what if another team, because we're talking about MLS 2.0, 3.0, what if some other team goes, I like that model that Miami's doing, can we replicate that? Can we just buy 3-4 high tier players and basically create a microcosm of a bigger, better team? Basically take out a group, the midfield of an excellent team, and just plop it into our team and then see if it works. Just basically kind of like what Miami did.
Yeah.
I mean, the logistics of that is insane, and only probably Miami and LA could pull that off. Maybe New York, but it's very, very hard, especially the salary cap and everything. But I would just be interested if another team tried it like that. And it would be where would they go? Where would they look at?
And it's, I think, incredibly difficult, again, because you don't have more than one Messi. So it's, Thomas Muller, an incredible player, legendary player. He's not Messi. And it's just, one of these things where, how do you replicate that? But, so let's move on to these transfer rumors. And per Jorge Chipivera, a Paraguayan journalist, he says that Atlanta United is apparently close to signing international center back, or Paraguayan international center back, Junior Alonso from Brazilian side club Atlético Mineiro. He's a 32-year-old defender. He made 58 starts for Mineiro across all competitions in 2025. Including 13 in the Copa Sudamericana, and where he helped the club reach the final. But he's also had stops at Boca Juniors, Celta de Vigo, and Lille. He also played with Miggy at Cerro Porteño from 2013 to 2016. But as far as kind of where he kind of fits in here, I mean, he He's a left-sided center back, can also play at left back. He is an excellent tackler, has a good aerial presence, and as well, good on the ball, good positionally as well. So it's one of these things where it kind of makes sense, but 32-year-old seems more like a depth piece, seems more like someone that just, I think knows Miggy, knows probably Tata a little bit, and it would just be someone that can help us from a depth standpoint. But how do you read this?
Does it sound like a Juan Baracol replacement?
Possibly. But we do have him, as far as Baracol, until mid-season. So there is maybe not that it's going to replace him, but, it might be kind of added depth on top of that. But
yeah, because we have too many defenders right now, so we're going to have to do something with that.
Possibly, in a way. I mean, I think we do need, and I think I read this as maybe, this is the thing too, it's like if you're going to use an international spot on depth, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's really tough. So I think maybe you might be right that you do have to move one of them on, but the question is, who do you move on? So, it's you could cut short the loan possibly if that option's there, but either way, I feel like from what as far as profile wise, this kind of matches what we do need. We do need somebody that can play as an understudy to Amador, as well as give some depth options for our left-sided center back. So I think there's some validity here possibly, but we'll see on that. But
32 seems like a tad bit old to me, and I mean he doesn't play on the Paraguayan national team, right? So that's a bonus for me because I'm kind of don't care about that anymore. I mean, not that I necessarily ever did, but I just feel like it's that meme where the guy's like in that yellow suit looking around a tree, like doing this every time Atlanta United sees a guy who's on like some obscure international team that he plays on. Like, he's like, wow, we got to sign that guy. He plays on the Bosnian national team. Yeah, that'll definitely. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, and so he has played for Albiroja with Paraguay, and with Miggy, of course, there. But at 32, it remains to be seen if he will play a part. I imagine he will want to play a part for sure, and so
has he been?
And he has 68 caps for them. So
but lately,
and that's the question. And is he past it a little bit? Is he gonna be in the squad? We'll see. We'll see if the playing time kind of allows that to where he gets picked in that sense. But
a 32-year-old who also has international duty. That seems, and he's supposed, and if even he's depth, that's like another, Ronaldo Hernandez going away for Venezuela. Like, it's like a depth player. Again, it's like, doesn't make sense to me, like you were saying. So,
yeah. And, it'll definitely be interesting. I'm looking up right now to see if he has, but,
and while you do that, like, if it is Tata's guy, like, if this is one of his guys he's identified, like, I was listening to some criticisms of Tata about like some of his quote unquote guys he identified from Miami while he was there that were like hit or miss. Obviously he can't, like, Tata's not like always going to be right about everyone, right? But like if I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt, especially I can't do worse than what we're working with. So I feel like he can, if this is one of his guys he's identified and he believes he can develop a group that has a good chemistry with each other, let's start that going. If this is a building block for that, let's get it going.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he has been playing with them. So this.
There it is. Landing. Oh, he's definitely gonna be signed then. Landing United's sitting there like, oh yeah.
It's as recent as pretty much last month. So, yep, it is that case. So, yep, definitely a very interesting rumor there. Next rumor is coming from Fede Cristofanelli. He reports that Lucas Hoyos has apparent serious chances to sign with Atlanta United. His contract at Newell's Old Boys expires at the end of the year. He's an Argentine goalkeeper, 36 years old, and yeah, I mean, apparently quite good on the ball a little bit, as far as penalty saving. He's one of those type of goalkeepers, and as well as pretty much point blank type of saves. He's also quite strong there. Now, obviously there's going to be competition for Jaden Hibbert, but this is quite an old goalkeeper in some senses, or maybe that's a little harsh to say. He's up,
yes.
Yep, he's up there in as far as age goes, but as far as a goalkeeper still, yeah, they have a longevity that definitely usurps an outfield player, and yeah, probably could have still 4 good years. Now, the question is, is he more of a backup, or is he actual competition if he does come in for Hibbert? I mean, what do you think?
I think that, yeah, it's going to be competition, because I don't know if they're 100% sold on Jaden, which is kind of sad for me to come to the conclusion of, because I'd really want them to ride or die with Jaden, because that's just going to be, he succeeds, that'll be such a good story. Even if he doesn't succeed and does all right, like enough, like middle of the pack goalkeeper MLS next year, I mean, that's really good for him for his starting season, essentially. Like that's a good story. I want to be part of that story. Whereas we get like another goalkeeper that takes over basically, and then you keep his Jaden's development on the back burner. That kind of is not something I'm here for. This guy is interesting because he's like right in the middle. So it's competition. It's not outright he's going to, expect to start and win the spot over Jaden. But in 36, this guy seems to get a good goalkeeper. Obviously, the Newell's Old Boys is the connection with Tata there, and the Argentine. So that aspect, again, if this is another direction towards building the culture and chemistry that the team so desperately needs, that's order number 1 right now for us. Then I think, okay, perhaps that makes it sit a little easier with me, that Jaden may not just be, the automatic pick as the starter, but I do think that Jaden has a good shot at winning the spot, even against a guy like that. But at the same time, he can learn a lot from this guy. He's an older veteran international goalkeeper. So this guy has seen a lot, been around the block. He's going to have a lot more to learn from. He got a lot from what he got at Atlanta United so far, especially from Brad Guzan. I mean, this is a completely new perspective now with Hoyos if he comes in. So, he can learn a lot from that and integrate himself further with kind of a South American contingent. If that's what we're building here, it seems like that's what we're going to be doing again. So, good. I think that can be good. And like I said, it helps the medicine go down a little bit if, this is in the direction of building for that chemistry again. So sorry, Jaden, but it's maybe this is for the best. I still think Jaden should feature heavily for us, regardless of what happens.
And yeah, having somebody that has that much experience, even if it's in another league, is still, quite good. And especially, I think a good number of the players in the back line do speak probably multiple languages. So, it probably won't be that crazy of a thing. But it is, having an international, spot in one of the depth pieces again, whether it is actually he, is a backup or, if he does win the job. I I mean, yeah, it does. Yeah, it's one of those. Okay, you don't really need to worry about international spots too much. We will find a way, but I don't know. I mean, there are some difficulties sometimes, especially with the state of the team. It does take a while. It has taken quite a while sometimes for some of these players to get that cleared. But anyway, let's move on. So Mercedes-Benz Stadium, they've announced that the U.S. men's national team will play 2 high-profile matches at the Benz in March as part of the final preparations for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. March 28th versus Belgium, March 31st versus Portugal. But they will go on sale as far as tickets December 5th. But yeah, as far as well, the 18th game for season ticket holders, they will get the game from U.S. men's national team versus Belgium. So that's as good as of as an 18th game that I have seen in quite a while. And the other ones were previously Leagues Cup games, which yeah usually have been dead rubbers. So this one I'm actually excited about. It's I think I'm actually excited to go to these, but or this one anyway. But yeah, so any thoughts on those 2 games being at the Benz?
So yeah, the Belgium one is definitely exciting. And what was the other one you said? Portugal? Was it?
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, versus Portugal. Mm-hmm.
So if that's Ronaldo at the Benz, that's exciting, because then we've gotten, and what a lot of people would say are the 2 best players to ever play the game in our home stadium, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You just check that off the old thing. Mm-hmm. That's just cool, and you get Atlanta another chance to see a legendary player play here. We wouldn't necessarily get to see that in the World Cup, so that's just something we definitely get to have then, if he ends up playing, which I imagine he would, but who knows. You never know. And so seeing the United States play those 2 teams, those are 2 World Cup qualifying regular teams. Good competition. This is going to turn into a Yanks podcast all of a sudden, but I think I would be excited to see those games. They should be very competitive. They'll give us a good measure about what the United States can do against a decent team. We saw what happened when we were kind of untested going up against a legit team like the Netherlands, and our first real taste of high level competition, we kind of got crushed. So this is kind of a taste of it earlier on. So I think I'm all for that. I'm really excited for that. And I'm really looking forward to see what the United States is able to show that they're capable of going in to the World Cup against some relatively big boys. Now, granted, Portugal and Belgium aren't what they kind of used to be. But, they aren't nothing. So it's a good preparation.
Right. Yeah, because the stars are aging. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne would be, for Belgium, if he is going to be able to stay healthy, all that there. But, yeah, that kind of segues perfectly to the next bit of news in that World Cup draw is going to be December 5th. And, the ones in pot 1, obviously, USA, Mexico, Canada, but also Belgium, Portugal, as well with England, France, Argentina, Spain, Netherlands, and Germany. And yeah, it'll be really interesting who will be in our pot, not in our pot, but in our draw. And group. Group, there we go. Man, it's been 4 years since the World Cup, so it's been a minute. So sorry, remember the words for that.
And they're constantly changing stuff, man.
It's true. Anyway, but
we got what is it, 48 teams or some nonsense? Is it this?
Yeah, I think so. We got 48 teams. Let's do that math real quick. Yeah, it seems so. Yep. And yeah, so it's definitely really gonna be fascinating. As far as kind of there's always some groups of death, and man, I really hope that the United States has a favorable draw because it's gonna be quite interesting. There are some
It
very
can't
strong
it can't be
teams.
that bad because we are a host seed, which gives us a high seed. So conceivably we'll be with not like killers, but there's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
We'll get at least, yeah. I remember seeing some stuff about talking about perhaps like Morocco being in there. Morocco's a killer, so yeah, that would be not exactly ideal. But I mean, you're gonna get some adversity at some point,
of course.
So might as well. I mean, in the group stage, it's at least you get shellacked by a really good team in the group stage, but you still make it out of the group. That could be good preparation to wake you that F up, for an actual knockout game. So who knows? You never know, man. Tournaments are exciting like that.
They can be, yeah. Or you get beat by minnows. I mean, relatively, we probably should not be in pot one in general, anyway. But and then you get grouped. That's the fear, I think, probably for
like Belgium did the last one.
Yeah. So there's definitely some real, actual, real danger here. But
there was a lot of grouping in the last World Cup. Yeah. There were a lot of teams I was like, how the heck? Like Brazil and Germany just not making it far at all.
Right. It was a crazy one last time. And, I suspect this one might be crazy too because, historically, well, maybe not historically, but yes, usually some of the other ones as far as host countries, either it's just one or, there's like maybe a couple, like 3 of them that are not the strongest. It's going to be real interesting. It's going to be real interesting. So anyway, next bit of news, per Mike Conti, the draw for the 2031 Women's World Cup will be held in Atlanta, either at the Fox Theater or the Woodruff Arts Center. Let's see. It's the joint U.S., Mexico, Costa Rica, Jamaica bid book released this week by FIFA. So, yeah, Mercedes-Benz Stadium could also be a host, or would be a host venue in the maximum capacity. So, a lot of Atlanta-centric news regarding some of the biggest tournaments in the world, and it's very exciting. I mean, it's just, really huge stuff that, puts more pins in the map of Georgia. But any thoughts there?
I just hope a lot of this is reverberating down into the bedrock culture of a lot of American cities, not just Atlanta. Yeah. And it's really developing a groundswell of support for the game at a young age from a lot more people from a lot more different walks of life. And maybe, when you and I are in the retirement home, we're starting to see like a lot of, American players be the top players in the world, and our teams or our national teams are top in the world, and things of this sort. So that would be really cool to see. Hopefully one day, right? So we'll keep our hopes up for that.
Yeah. Hopefully for me, I'm not sure I want to be in a retirement home, but I think
sorry, you'll be on the beach.
Yeah.
And you'll be relaxing. Yep, instead.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We have some work to do, but yeah. Either way, anyway, that's the news for this week. Let's get to the mailbag. You guys send in these questions through Discord and IG story. Please continue to do so, and we might answer your question in the future. A little lighter load this week as, the bits of news with the holiday. Probably people weren't really focused too hard on what's going on. But, yes, first question. First question comes from Joseph Better Than Carlos. Why does depression still hit even when things are going well? Is this a result of watching an awful soccer team for the last 6 years?
Yeah, no, it's a trauma response is what it is.
Yeah, it's PTSD.
So that's just you've been conditioned, and it's going to take a long time for you to unlearn those reactions and those behaviors towards, what you're seeing on the field. So hopefully, a lot of people will probably, we end up doing really, really good the first half of the season, or maybe, hopefully, people will still feel like fool's gold, it can't be real. We're not going to be able to. And, it's from a generation of hurt, right? Like a whole half a decade more, rather, of just not good. So, I completely understand why people still feel that way. I feel that way. And it's going to take a lot of goodwill developing for us to kind of turn that momentum around.
Right. I mean, it's really well said. I'm not really sure I can add too much to that. It's, Atlanta United have really set a foundation that I think still buoys it. I think that's the strong part about it, the lucky part about it, really. And it's at this point, it's on the leadership to find every which nook and cranny to find advantages on how to dig us out of this hole. But next question comes from XJR. If it comes down to it, I'd use both buyouts on Saba and Moranchuk, is what he says. Do you agree?
It depends what the market says. If you can move them for other reasons, then okay. But if you can't, and they are in the way of Tata's vision in whatever way, and he just is like, I can't, accomplish what I'm here to accomplish with these players on the roster, and the buyouts are the only option, then you take that hit. You take that, you listen to your coach, and hopefully he can, work with that and come good on what he's saying. So that's the way I'd approach it. But I mean, I would kind of be surprised if you can't find something for either of those players, and you'd have to use a buyout. But that's the last ditch effort to get to, the last thing you have to, impediment you have to remove from Tata to see his vision accomplished. Then you do that.
I think Saba is probably a lot easier to move, lower salary, as well as not a DP. And I think, would be useful for quite a number of teams. It's just a matter of, I think it was a positional and system fit for Saba versus, some of the other things here. But Moranchuk, probably a lot harder to move there. I'm not sure how many teams would take him as a DP. We'd probably have to eat quite a bit of salary if we were going to do intra-league. But if we are to, sell him to another country's league, we'd probably take absolutely a cut rate of what we paid for. But sometimes you just kind of have to take the losses and, take it as a win as well, that you can, free up a roster spot. So, we'll see. But I'm not sure.
What do they say? Stupidity is expensive.
yeah, quite a bit, right? But I think Moranchuk would probably be the one that I use. The other one might not be Saba, but I'm not sure who that would be quite yet. But obviously, I think we have a lot of time. We've got a lot of time to figure that out. Next question is from Nick17. Favorite match day tradition? Obviously, you're not always at the games, but maybe from what you see, and from when you've been there.
Man, match day traditions. It's like I have things that I like to do, but I can't always do them, so it's hard to call them traditions. But when I can do them, I will. This is a personal thing that obviously not everyone can relate to, but personally for me, waking up in the morning and knowing it's an Atlanta United game day, and either my kids are awake already, or I go into their room and I wake them up, and I go into their closets and I grab the Atlanta United t-shirts they both have, and I throw it at them and say, put it on, it's game day. and they get excited, and they barely understand what's going on when it comes to soccer, but they're like, all right, cool, yeah, you're hyped about it, I'm hyped about it. So that is something I personally love, and I do it as much as I can whenever there's a game on the weekends. So that's something that's near and dear to me. Obviously participating in our Discord, by the way, join it, especially for the World Cup coming up. We're doing a bracket competition for it eventually when all the information comes out about it, and a lot of good prizes and stuff. But yeah, conversing with the Discord community on game days, whether you're at the match or not, seeing the pictures people post and videos from the tailgate and the games, and then obviously, I guess you could call this definitely a tradition, but after every game, when we do the post-match live show, we get on there and we hang out and we talk about the game every single time. So to me, that's a tradition, and something I definitely look forward to, even if we don't do well, because it's just a lot of good fun hanging out with everyone.
Yeah, I absolutely echo that sentiment. I was about to say it myself. That's, yes, after matches in, pretty much, not only our live streams, but the fan cams in the past too. I mean, those, I look forward to that. It was a lot of fun, just really chopping it up, hearing everyone's thoughts, opinions on the game. It's, it kind of sometimes can be more fun than the game itself at times, because yes, recently anyway, yes, some of those games have been slogs / snoozers, but the banter, the camaraderie that that's in this community, that's in our live shows as well, top, can't be beat. So definitely appreciate you guys, love you guys, and if you've ever taken a part in that. But yeah, some other people were mentioning. Dr. Magnifico said behind a MARTA bus. Nick in the ATL posted a MARTA bus covering the Georgia Dome, of course, famously when the implosion was blocked by a bus. Fun fact, I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but the camera operator for that Weather Channel video was one of my close buddies back in the day. And so yeah, I used to work there, and yeah, he when I heard the voice, I was like, no way. No freaking way. And yeah, it was so funny. And so I don't know if I have enough time to go and get that picture, but I literally have a framed picture of the MARTA bus approaching the Georgia Dome, just so I can laugh at it every single time I leave the door. So
it's iconic, man. It's iconic. Yeah. It's one of those staples of Atlanta, like in culture, if you know it, kind of thing. Exactly. In a similar vein, but not the same. But it also reminds me of that one picture of when the local news interviewed Darlington Nagby and just has like driver at the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just funny stuff like that like you bring up, and people are like, oh yeah, I remember that stupid thing. It was hilarious.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, that's like, that is if that is like, yeah, some people who maybe have come in a little later, man, there's so much good stuff that's
true, man. We need to, maybe like we'll do this as a Patreon thing or something, but like just collect all like the Atlanta United cultural memes that are just have happened over the years. Yeah. And if people came on later or something, and it's like, oh, here's your rundown, so you can get caught up. And if someone makes a joke about this, you're like, it's like the Captain America thing. I understood that reference.
I understood exactly. Perfect. Yeah, I know. I think I smell a top 5 video coming up. Mm-hmm. We'll see. All right. Anyway, but that is the last question. Thank you guys for sending that in. That is pretty much the end of the show, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, do you feel like the position that Garth Lagerwey has vacated should be a position that oversees both the men's side and the women's side. Let us know in the comments below. Looking forward to what you have to say. But that's it. That's the episode there and there. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's been Michael. I've been AJ. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.